If you're on the mat, nobody sues anybody. It's an agreement, okay? I did forget my damage waivers and my video waivers today, so if you are on the mat, you are giving me consent, A, to put your lovely face on YouTube or whatever, and you agree to hold us harmless from any damages. You're training at your own risk. That being said, everything we do today is going to be based on safety, fun, and stuff that actually works. So you guys can, well, have us come on up a little bit. You guys don't have to be so far away. Alrighty. By a show of hands, how many people, this is your first time meeting me and coming out to one of my events? Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Today is about secrets of personal self-defense. My name is David Snyder. I have an 8th degree black belt in an art called Ryukyu Kempo, which has 2 arts within it that are even more famous. One is called Kyusho Jitsu. The other is called tuite Jitsu. Kyusho Jitsu is the art and science of pressure point attacking or vital point striking. The theory behind Kyusho Jitsu is that from a Kyusho Jitsu perspective, the fight should begin and end in less than a second. It means from the time they make contact to the time they're on the ground and you're on your way home, second or less. So that's kind of the goal in a lot of the ways I approach what I'm going to teach you today. Now, that being said, I am not teaching you to be a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. I'm not teaching you, I know she's disappointed. I'm not teaching you to become the next MMA champion of the world. I'm teaching you how to go home. Does that make sense? So to do that, we're going to teach you how to hit as hard as humanly possible with the hardest object around. It's called the earth. And so what we're going to be teaching you, in addition to how to activate nerves and vital points of the body, we're going to also show you a different kind of pressure point. We're going to be teaching you what I call biomechanical tuite or biomechanical Kyusho Jitsu. These are inherent weaknesses. The body, first of all, understand the human body is extremely strong. And the way most of us are taught to attack the body actually forces us to attack the strong parts. Okay, if you go to a traditional karate class or even boxing gyms and things like that, you have certain targets that are legal, certain targets that are illegal, right? Well, it's the illegal targets that are actually the vulnerable spots. I think, we all know about the groin, we all know about the knees, but most of us, we all know about the eyes, but we're all squeamish about attacking those points. First thing I do is, first time we practice an eye jab, the first thing I hear from the room is usually, ew. Well, guess what? If you have an ew response to poking somebody in the eye, you probably won't use it to protect yourself on the street. So today is going to be a combination of physical technique, but also we're going to cover something that I don't normally cover in our martial arts meetups, which is your mind. How can we begin to cut our chances of being attacked down by as much as 80%? Just by changing the way we think and the way we stand. Okay, so there's going to be just if you've been to my NLP power meetups, you know I spend a lot of time on training the mind, okay? To finish my rather long pedigree, because I hate to bore you guys, I have an 8th degree black belt in Kyusho Jitsu. I'm a certified instructor in an art called Combat Sistema. I have a 4th degree black belt in Shaolin Kun Tao, brown belt in small circle jiu-jitsu. I'm a certified instructor in modern arnis, certified instructor in Cinco Mano Eskrima. I'm also certified in what they call combat arnis, which is more of a knife art than anything else. And a lot of the things that I work from are derived from my work with the knife, even though we probably won't be using a knife here except as a prop in terms of how to move. The reason that we use the knife as the litmus test for a technique is because it is the least forgiving of the weapons. It will cut you just as easily as it will cut the bad guy. And so if we can do a technique that is viable against a blade, it has a high probability of working empty-handed. Also, when people see like steel, even if it's just a dull training knife, they get fear. And that's one of the things that we need to understand when we're out on the street is we need to know what to do when that fear hits us. How do we begin to deal with that? Now, in a 4-hour meetup like this, we're not going to be able to cover every single aspect in depth. My job here is to make things very, very simple, that if all you had was 5 minutes a day, that you could do a couple of simple movements with the right intention, you would have a high probability of being able to protect yourself against 80% of what's out there. And that's my goal, is to make things simple, easy, and effective. So that being said, we're going to actually start off by warming up a little bit, even though it's warm enough. We're going to actually start by learning how to move a little bit. Some of the arts we're going to be pulling from today are small circle jiu-jitsu, Sistema, pressure points or Kyusho Jitsu, and Arnis, Eskrima, the arts of the Philippines, which are very, very fast, easy to learn methods for something you can start doing right away. Just for my edification, how many people here actually do have a martial arts background? Raise your hands. Don't lie. It's okay. Nobody? Okay. So so all the ladies are lying, either lying or they just don't want to tell me. That's all right. It doesn't really matter because you're going to get some good stuff out of this anyway. So the first thing I want to do is I want to kind of get us maneuvering a little bit. We're going to start with something, it's kind of like combat yoga, for lack of a better word. It's from the art of the Russian martial art of Sistema, and it's known as low acrobatics or ground flow. And it's a way of learning how to move on the ground and while it seems very graceful and very fluid, it's very, very good for the joints of the body. It's very, very good for the connective tissues. It's also one of the ways that you can begin to remove fear from the physical body. There's this process that goes on in our day-to-day life. It's called sensory motor amnesia. And what happens is the parts of us that get cramped into a certain position actually kind of go to sleep. And we forget, the body literally forgets that they're there. And so as we go through these gentle movements, all of which do have combat applications and self-defense applications, it's going to lubricate the body, it's going to get the joint capsules kind of moving, it's going to get you a little bit more, your heart rate up just a little bit without being aerobic, for lack of a better word. But I want you to think of it more as moving meditation. I want you to think of it more as just breathing and flowing. We're going to start, and again, and one of the things about the Russian martial arts that I love, overall, and I love all the arts, but there are certain things that certain arts just have that other arts don't. One of which is this philosophy that nothing you do in Systema should damage the body. You know, when we start training these hard-style martial arts like Kempo, karate, boxing, even MMA, Muay Thai, by the time we hit 30, 35, 40, we start losing our physical abilities and we start to break the body down because of all this really hardcore training. Systema doesn't embrace that. They believe in a more slow, graduated approach that everything you do should strengthen the body while at the same time invigorating and rejuvenating the body. So if all you got from today was the 15 or 20 minutes that we did of the ground flow exercises, you would take about, I would say, 5 to 10 years off of your chronological age in your body. Just from that, you would be much more relaxed. Okay? So it's really cool stuff. It has a lot of combat applications. If people want to go there, I'll show you some of the combat applications of the ground movements. Then what we're going to do is we're going to work into either, I haven't made a decision yet whether we're going to go into mount escapes or whether we're just going to go to stand up and just start working attacks from the front, grabs, things like that. But if you guys have a question or have a circumstance or a situation that you'd like to know more about, I'm more than happy to go there and play with that, okay? So there's a flow today, and the idea is for you to walk away with something you can use, have a good time, and if you want more, I'll show you where to go next if you want to get more stuff. Is that cool? All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this stupid microphone. You guys are way too serious. Everybody stand up. You guys are way too freaking serious. Okay? I goof off a lot when I have self-defense. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to look either to your right or to your left. Walk up to the person next to you, stick out your hand, and go, David. That's better. If you're not smiling, you're not learning. David. All right, I like that. I like that Muhammad Ali cut you got going on. That's awesome. All right, very cool. All right, so I'm going to take this off. Wait. This is the academic part. We have to understand the principle so we can apply the technique. Hips are head, shoulders, hips, knees. As long as they line up, the body is strong, the body is stable. Anytime, here's the rule, tattoo it on your forehead, on the insides of your eyelids, any place that you will remember it. Anytime the hips or shoulders are misaligned, anytime the structure is distorted, the only direction you need to move is down. You don't need to pull him. You don't need to push him. That will actually make him stronger. because the body's designed for diagonal movements. It's designed to resist that shit. Shit being a technical term, right? So the first thing you're going to do is we're going to work that exercise. All I want you to do is misalign, get a partner, misalign the hips and the shoulder, and you can make it big for now. As you get more and more advanced, the degree of, stand up straight, the degree of distortion can be more and more subtle. Because it goes from something you can see to something you can feel. Now here's the beautiful part. This will work if she's doing it to him. Okay? I've had 110-pound girls drop 300-pound guys with a lot of the techniques that you're going to learn today, because they're based on the concept of how the skeleton works, and that regardless of your size, shape, nationality, neurological predispositions, everybody's center of gravity in this room weighs exactly the same. Her center of gravity doesn't weigh any different than his, and if she can connect to that center, she can control everything that's connected to his center, which is basically everything about him. Okay, this is the basis of Aiki, Tai Chi. Some of your advanced arts, Sistema goes really off the deep end with this. But when we start working what I call the entries, one of the first things that we're going to do as we enter is we're going to get that structure distorted. So all we got to do is move down. Right? We hit them with the ground and go home. Right? If on the way down we want to be more thorough, you can. Right? But at the end of the day, we've distorted the structure. He's stuck literally between falling and holding himself up, which gives me the perfect opportunity to lay in a finishing strike, a distracting strike to get away. Does that make sense? Okay, so partner up. Danny and Zach and Billy are going to come around. They're going to help you with this, and then we're going to build on that, okay? Go play. Next drill. You guys have fun with this?
Yeah.
Okay, next thing. CJ. I don't know, I just like this guy. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, so what we've worked now is basic understanding of structural alignment, okay? We misalign the boxcars in any way. We can be, the only direction we need to move is down. Now, my wife happens to be a chiropractor, so just face me. Be square, okay? So now what we're going to work on is what we call three-arch principle. You guys know what the spine is, right? Everybody here have a spine?
I'm spineless.
The first thing we're going to look at is you have the cervical arch, goes this way. You have the thoracic arch, goes this way. You have the lumbar arch, goes this way, right? The vertebrae of the spine stand on each other like a stack of dishes. And the body has a tremendous amount of connective tissue to try and keep a certain level of tension and springiness in the spine. What we're doing in the first drill we did, where we misalign this, is we're taking that spine and doing that. And now the spine can no longer conduct force and support the body the way it's normally designed to. Does anybody here know what a hangman's reflex is? Okay. Well, at the base of you can look it up. I won't go into it, but basically what we do is we want to find C7 right here, and the base of his forehead. Now, what you want to do is you want to base at the C7 or the T1 and compress this way. When you do that, this interesting thing happens. He falls down.
I knew that was going to happen.
Of course you did.
I know what's about to happen. It's like,
All right? It's like a sense of impending doom, right? And it's a reflex. It's not about me being, obviously I'm not bigger and stronger than CJ, right? I may need a step ladder to do this technique, right? But I can do other things to bring his head down to a level that I can work with. Right? So in my school, we're going to take the structure of your body first. As you go down, that's going to set up the opportunity for me to hit a nerve or some other vital point if I want to. Does that make sense? So if I take your opponent's structure away, he has nothing left to fight back with. He's too busy trying to get himself back in structure or flailing on the way to the ground. So the first drill is going to be the cervical arch. Base it here, press here, compress this way. Now, his structure is now officially what? Broken. What direction do I need to move? Down. So I do this, And you'll see the butt pop out. Kind of like a little booby prize, right? Or booty prize. So I come in here, drop. And he may take a little, because he's tall, it takes him a while to drop because he has to wave through, right? But be careful with David if you work with David on this, and when you work with Kim, be careful because she has some hip stuff that we don't want to exacerbate. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Compress, press, look at it, there he goes. And I didn't even drop yet, right? They never see this coming, okay? So
Or just holding outside?
You ask the question, you get, this is so CJ can see now. Okay, so all I'm doing here, ponytail out of my way. So I'm going to base the spine here. I'm going to compress it this way. Once, and you'll see the sacrum pop. She really tried on that one too. Why are you guys always trying? Remember, the more you resist, the more I have to give you some juice. But the whole idea is I compress. See, look, see your butt? See, are her hips and shoulders aligned? All I got to do is drop. The body is strong from the top down. Okay? CJ could pick me up and throw me around like a freaking, Nerf bat football. She can fight. If I could actually stand on her hips or sit on her hips, she could hold me up that way. Because the body is designed to be strong from the top down, but not the bottom up. Okay? So when I do this, again, I'm not trying to beat on women, but it's, my wife beats on me, I guess it's fair. Okay. Compress. You see your butt? You see it shift out? And you can go slow. That's the weird part, is you don't have to be ballistic with it. Can I use you for a second? So Christy can see? You don't have to be ballistic with it. Once the structure's distorted.
I'm like waiting for it. I'm already falling. Okay, I'm ready.
Right. Once the structure's distorted, see how she starts to fold, and you see how she folds. They all kind of fold the same way. That's the way the body's designed to go to the ground safely. Your body is actually engineered to fall in a way that actually keeps you from getting hurt. The problem is that we tense up on the way down, and that's where we get hurt, where the tension is, right? Systema goes to great lengths to teach you how to systematically remove excess tension from the body so the body can do what it's already designed to do. You ever see somebody just faint? Yeah. They just fold up, kind of like what's your name again?
Dawn.
What Dawn just did, right? They just fold up like an accordion and they go to the ground no problem, more often than not. That's the idea in systemic falling, is learning how to let the architecture of the body do that. It's when we try to control those things or tense up and lock in, protect ourselves consciously, that things go south. So Systema goes a very long way in unlocking the body's natural survival capacities. Because you can't plan for every eventuality. But what you can do is develop a protocol or a formula that you can apply that will yield a predictable result, even though it may look different every single time. So what we're going to do, Dawn and Christy, thank you. Give them a big round of applause. TJ. All you're going to do is find the base of the cervical spine, the forehead, and compress it till you see the butt kick. And it may be big or it may be small. Once that happens, all you got to do is bend your knees and drop your hips. We call that big motor, little motor principle. If you drop from your waist instead of pulling from up top, then the body's natural strengths are bypassed. Does that make sense? Okay? Go play with that. All right, circle up. Next drill. Okay, so that's the cervical arch. That's the cervical arch. Let me use Zach for this. Zach is my Gumby. Next drill. Again, we're working the 3-arch concept, right? Then we're going to work actually an entry. Then we're going to come back. We'll work a few more structure breaking ideas. So from here, he drops. Okay? So that's the cervical arch. You have 2 more arches. Okay? The hardest one, and again, it's not that hard, is the thoracic arch. Now, the cervical arch comes this way. Okay? Thoracic arch is more like this. And again, just like before, we want to misalign the stack of dishes. So you want to find roughly the rounding of the shoulder blade. And you can find right above the hip or right on the ribs. However you can get that to happen. And I'm doing a lot more than I actually need to. But for right now, it's better to go this far so you know you've got it. Right? So it can be done, we can do this from a clinch position. Right? We could do this from, maybe we passed and now we're back here. We can take it down. We'll get into that later, but I want you to get really familiar with these three arches first. So find the rounding of the shoulder blade, and anywhere between the other shoulder blade and the top of the hip is fine. You can actually do it off the hip as well, but that kind of bleeds into what I call the lumbar arch technique, which is the one I probably use the most. And for you small people, that will be, homecoming for you guys. So compress the spine, drop. Okay? Just drop your butt. Or as we say, turn their head, bend your knees, drop your ass. Turn their shoulders, bend your knees, drop your ass. Okay? When in doubt, bend your knees and drop your butt. Okay? So same drill now. You're going to work either from the inside and dropping, or from the outside and dropping. Okay? Easy peasy. Go play. 3 and 3. There's Dimitri. Strong like bull. Sure. Okay, so find the rounding of her shoulder blade, and all you want to do is compress and drop. Okay? So for you, I'll do it to you so she can see. So no, turn around so you can see. So from here, I want to find the rounding of the shoulder blade. Okay. And again, anywhere in here is fine as long as I can get that kind of a dynamic. Right? And then just drop. Try not to stand behind him because he'll fall on you.
Yeah, he did.
That's what happens a lot of times is, a lot of these really cool...
I was holding on to him too though because I couldn't get him to fall that way.
Well, again, you just got to make sure you move out of the fall line. Right? Well, I have a little bit more practice.
Yeah, I do.
Nice. Very nice. You guys rock. Nice. Good. Like that. Good. Very nice. You guys are getting deadly. Guys are getting deadly. Okay, you're working way too hard. But it's all right.
But he's like tough.
He's a Russian. The whole idea is when I'm here, see? Down they go. You don't have to pull them down. All right? Well, I've been doing this a while, guys.
I know.
All right? It's okay to push and really distort it, to learn it. The longer you do it, the more you'll develop that touch and that sensitivity that allows you to get really small, right? But you can't start there, okay? It's nice to aspire to what I do, but remember, you haven't seen the 4, 5, 6, 7 years I've been touching all these people trying to kill me at these meetups where I let anybody come in, right? Dimitri has actually seen some of that, right? But again, the whole idea is get the idea of compressing that spine. And again, this is the hardest I ever work when I throw somebody. This is the hardest I ever work. You're excited now, aren't you, brother? Cool, very cool. Yeah. Now again, Dimitri, as she goes down, all you want to do now is get out of her way. See?
Oh, so don't sit down?
Yeah, don't stand behind her because she'll use you for support. So as I break this, I need to get out of the way and stay with him on the way down. Right? Good. Now, your momentum drove him forward. As a rule, he'll want to fold down. Whoop, don't fall on her. What's wrong with you? Very nice. You guys rock. All right, give yourselves a big round of applause. Let's take a 7-minute water and candy break. We'll come back. We'll get into more cool stuff.